The Russian occupants are feverishly trying to saturate Luhansk Oblast with their units to hold the occupied territories. But didn't we see the same scenario in the Kharkiv region, as well as the right bank Kherson region? Did it help the occupation troops? No, not at all. I have often noted that I see the liberation of Luhansk region as following the scenario of Kharkiv region, though with its own specifics. For example, in Kharkiv region there are more forest areas, and in Luhansk region in a number of promising directions for the counterattack marshes prevail. Otherwise, these bridgeheads of combat operations are similar, and the occupants have absolutely not changed their habits in any incomprehensible situation to shut everything up with meat, without turning on their brains. For example, Russian troops are now intensively trying to saturate the location with mortar batteries. Also, a fresh and, importantly, relatively manned battalion tactical group has been brought to the line of contact. The saturation continues, but today the section of Route 66, Krataway Kremena, is under full fire control of the AFU, as well as in a number of locations there is the physical presence of well-trained, but not verbose and very quiet guys. In other words, transport communication here is impossible. In turn, the northern section of the route, Troitsk-Swataway, is only under fire control, but there is no physical presence, although such daring attempts have been made. And this particular section is very important, because it is a logistical artery from Russia. And now, let's remember the artery in the Kharkiv region, Volchansk-Kupiansk Izium. The gradual fire control of this artery, and subsequently its cutting, became decisive in the counteroffensive in the Kharkiv region. And this is despite the fact that a large amount of biomass was concentrated in Izium. In other words, accumulate or not, but when the logistics are destroyed, all that is left is to flee. And in the case of Luhansk region, the occupants will have to flee to Starobilsk, because Russian troops do not have adequate lines of defense in this segment. However, as of today, there is a small thing missing for this scenario to materialize. The Russian command, limited in artillery in Luhansk Oblast, experiencing a shortage of ammunition, and progressively losing control over logistics, is plugging the holes with infantry, deprived of a full-fledged command and control system, and logistical support. They're not learning anything. Because if they were, they'd be running and not looking back. In summary, situation in Luhansk Oblast is becoming increasingly dire as the Russian occupants frantically try to hold onto the occupied territories using tactics that have proven to be unsuccessful in the past. Rather than using strategy and planning, they rely on brute force and are lacking in proper defensive measures. This has led to a shortage of ammunition and a loss of control over logistics, with the Russian command resorting to using under-equipped infantry to try and hold their ground. It is clear that the Russian occupants are not learning from their mistakes and may eventually be forced to retreat to Starobilsk in defeat.